47 points if you joined us late in the first quarter. And Donovan Mitchell was the difference. It's as simple as that. He got them going. He was a catalyst right away. He hit threes. He set people up. He finished with a double-double, 30 points and 10 assists. And this is the measure of efficiency. When you don't force a thing, you're 5 of 8 from beyond the arc, 11 of 16 overall in the game, 30 on 16 shots.
And listen, Donovan Mitchell obviously could have taken a couple more shots if he wanted to, but he's not about that. He's about trying to make the right play to win the game. In the first half, they weren't adjusting to him, so he scored it. In the second half, they showed him a little bit more coverage. He went out there and got his dimes. I love where Donovan Mitchell is right now. 30 points, 10 assists.
Yeah, 24-year-old embracing the 21-year-old. That's a great shot as well. Donovan Mitchell and Ja Morant, 2 all-NBA level
And I love
talents.
this right here. Two guys that were competing together, talking a little trash. Donovan Mitchell, Dylan Brooks. At the end of the day, it's all love. We're part of a fraternity. You're competing against me. I'm competing against you. We leave it all on the court, and that's that.
It's respect.
Yeah.
Good battle. Real good battle. So Utah waiting to find out. Is it going to be the Clippers or the Dallas Mavericks? That game right now on TNT. Can't wait for the Nuggets, Trailblazers, and the Suns and Lakers. It's really been good for all of us, Brendan, with the Western Conference the way it's gone.
Yeah, the Western Conference has had a lot of games that went down to the wire, and at the same time, a lot of series that have teetered back and forth as far as Uncle Mo and momentum. So we'll see how it goes down the stretch.
Yeah, we're going to get a word with Donovan Mitchell. Brendan, I know you want to talk with him, the young man who played at Louisville, somebody that you said had a conversation with you when he was going through his workouts and the combine. And joining us now, it is Donovan Mitchell. Donovan, it's Joel Myers along with Brendan Haywood. First of all, congratulations. Any thoughts in your mind going into this game about what happened last year? We talked to your coach about it a little bit. He said, they've already dealt with that experience. They're ready to move on. What about you guys in the locker room?
I think it was definitely, on the forefront of our brain. Even though we had a big lead, we're still like, we've been here before. We were up 15 against Denver going into halftime and ended up losing that game. So we came out with a sense of urgency, 1 through 17, man. And we competed, we fought, and we knew they were going to come out and continue to fight and compete. So, we took care of business. We did what we're supposed to do, and job's not done. We got to continue to go ahead and do the same thing next round. And
you talked about your team and the sense of urgency, but what about you individually? That first 5 minutes, man, you came out there like a man on a mission. Did you just say, hey, listen, I got to show my team that we can't let what happened last year happen again? Did you feel like it was all on you?
Yeah, I think, as the leader of this team, you got to go set the tone, set an example. I knew our guys were going to come out there and compete and fight, but, it's one thing to say it and go out there and do it. That was my biggest thing, just trying to attack, be aggressive, make the right reads, make the right plays. And that was really my mindset throughout the whole start of the game and throughout the whole game because, like I said, we've been here before and, we did what we were supposed to do. And we got to go out there and have the same execution, the same intensity for next round.
And what about your health? We all want to know how you're feeling right now. Obviously, you missed a lot of time in April. You got back. You started to get your legs underneath you. How are you feeling right now?
Body's a little sore, to be honest with you. I mean, it's been 40 days, and then you go ahead and play in the playoffs. So just trying to find my rhythm, I think is the biggest thing for me. Just trying to continue to find. I think tonight was a good start. I hadn't really shot it well all series, but I was doing little things to get my teammates involved and be aggressive. And we got time off, so I'm gonna continue to rep out and get my body stronger and get ready for this next run.
Congratulations again, Donovan. Thank you for taking the time.
Thank you, Donovan. Greatly appreciate it,
guys.
Continued success. That's Donovan Mitchell, sharp young guy, great representative for the Utah Jazz and the association in general. Okay, who matches up better out of that? Whether it's the Clippers or Dallas, who do you think matches up and gives us 7 games against Utah?
I think the Clippers will be a tougher matchup for Utah just because they have multiple guys that can defend, multiple scorers. If Paul George is having a bad night, they can rely on Kawhi Leonard and vice versa. So I think the Clippers would be a better matchup. But right now, who knows where it's going to go because Luka's playing unbelievable in that game right now. Matter of fact, Joel, I think we should wrap it up so we can go back to the hotel and watch this.
We are definitely going back right now.
The Jazz never trailed, and they led by, as many as 35 points at one point. Welcome back into our NBA TV studios. This is Game Time, presented by Kia. I'm Kristen Ledlow, alongside a couple of coaches, and Sam Mitchell and Lloyd Pierce. Now, the Jazz eliminate the Grizzlies 4-1. The only game that they don't win, of course, the one that Donovan Mitchell is not in the lineup. And unsurprisingly, Coach Pierce, he had 30 points, 6 rebounds, and 10 assists in this one.
That's what you expect from your best player. Obviously they're trying to protect Donovan from himself in that first game coming off of an injury, and it hurt him. It cost him a win. But he's been phenomenal ever since he came back from that injury. They've been phenomenal, and they're ready to advance. And they've been the best team all year, and we saw a glimpse of that tonight. This is what they've been all year, shooting the three, 9 of 14, I believe, in that first quarter to set them off. And they're going to be hard to get out.
What did you see, Coach Mitchell? Since I call you both Coach, I never have to be more specific. Mitchell and Mitchell from Donovan.
I like that.
What did you see, though, from this Utah Jazz team that gives you any inclination as to how far this postseason run could go?
They're the best team.
Really?
I mean, we saw, yes, when you look at them offensively, defensively, the way the ball moves, who do you stop? See, people will come into this game thinking, we got to stop Donovan. Okay, you load up on Donovan. He gets the ball moving. Now who do you stop? Because all those guys are so unselfish, and they all kind of play the same. They all can shoot the three. They all can handle and pick and roll. And so they spread you out, and this is the thing. They're not looking for shots. They're going to turn down an average shot for a better shot and a better shot for a great shot. That's just how they play. The only guy that kind of takes off on his own and allowed to go one-on-one and do some things is Donovan Mitchell. So when you play that way, and then you got that guy 7'3" Gobert in the back, anchoring your defense and putting pressure on the rim in that pick and roll offense, it is going to be tough because they're not going to change how they play. And Utah may be the one team, Coach. We've seen this in playoffs in the past. Teams go 0 for 23, 0 for 26, 1 for 25 in certain situations. I don't think Utah is going to, they're not going to ever have a night like that because they have too many great shooters. And they got that one guy when he's healthy, Donovan Mitchell, who gets everything started. And when he gets in the paint or get downhill, the defense collapses and they just start spraying the ball.
Well, it's great spacing. And I think Coach Quinn Snyder does a good job of putting them in position to where the spacing is great. And all of their guys are capable of putting the ball on the floor. Bogdanovich, Jordan Clarkson, Donovan Mitchell, Mike Conley, Joe Ingles. And so you have a lot of high IQ players that can beat their guy off the dribble, and they do it with their spacing. And so tonight you saw a bunch of slot drives. You saw the weak side defender come in, and whoever was doing the game, he talked about it. I don't know if it was Brendan or not, but he talked about the shots that you're seeing Utah take are uncontested jumpers.
Yes.
But that starts with dribble penetration. You have that Rudy Gobert and Derek Favors threat at the rim, but the dribble penetration creates open and uncontested threes. And that's why they're tremendous. It doesn't matter who. It's the spacing, and it's the ability to beat your defender, beat your matchup, and create that separation.
It was Brendan, who has a lot of smart things to say when he's not giving Bojangles shout-outs and asking for biscuits on live national television. But before we look ahead to a potential second-round matchup, let's look back at the Memphis Grizzlies run that was and brighter days that are certainly ahead in Memphis.
Oh, if you're a Memphis fan right now, you got to be ecstatic. Your young players grew up, not just Ja Morant, but when you look at Valanciunas and you look at Dylan Brooks, they all took their game to another level. They're young. They have a young coaching staff, and this team is on the rise because the thing that I like about Memphis, even though they're a decade removed from that grindhouse that we're used to, they still draft and recruit the same type of players. And so when you come to Memphis in that city, they have that mentality. Ja Morant, Valanciunas, Dylan Brooks. Those three guys right now are setting the tone for that franchise. And look, the sky's the limit because they're only going to get better, and they are tough. And the thing that I like about that team, everything's not predicated on offense. They start with the defense. They start with mental and physical toughness. And then with that young guy, Ja Morant, as his game continues to round out, he's going to become an even better shooter coming into season next year. And then when you look at this team, the one key for them is Jaren Jackson Jr. If this team is going to go to a whole nother level and still be playing after the first round of the playoffs in years to come, he's got to find his niche, and they got to figure out where they want to play him and how they want to use him.
Well, we're going to talk a whole lot more about the Memphis Grizzlies and their season and, of course, wrap up what was this first-round series between the Jazz and Grizz. But Quinn Snyder is addressing the media now.
Well, first I want to ask, how's Mike doing? But in secondary, last year you guys were up 3-1, lost that 3-1 lead. So what's the feeling for you guys to be able to close out in 5 and really do it in such a decisive manner as you did tonight?
Well, I think it shows that last year's last year and this year's this year. Game 3 is Game 3, Game 5 is Game 5. You know, the thing about this time of year is that it's as important to be able to forget as it is to be able to remember. And, you know, I think our guys have been focused on, you know, again, controlling what we can control to the extent that, you know, there's experience gained. I think that's relevant, but you know, every game is different, not just every season, every year. But I really like that we were able to lock in Game 2 after losing Game 1. We had some guys that played through fatigue, and you know, guys that came up big. You know, and you never know who it's going to be on a given night. You know, I thought, you know, Derek Favors, his stat line might not show it, but the competitiveness is the thing that we've been talking about. The way that Royce competed, we have a lot of guys that really competed and stayed focused on, you know, what the job was we needed to do.
Matthew Colts, AP.
What did you do offensively in the first quarter to get to 47 points besides just make shots? What went right for your team on offense?
Well, we really moved the ball, you know, and I think, you know, when we do that, you know, the first thing that has to happen is we have to space. You know, you can't be standing next to each other to move the ball the way we want. You know, that willingness to pass and to shoot. You know, I think the key is that those decisions are really quick decisions, and you know, obviously, you know, we're capable of having stretches like that when we make shots, but it happens when the ball moves. It slowed down a little in the second quarter. You can feel it, and that's just going to be a continual point of emphasis for us. It has been the whole season. And for guys to shoot the ball with confidence when they're open, no matter what, you know, no matter where it is in the shot clock. You know, if we've got good looks, we want to take them, and if we don't, we want to move the ball again until we find something.
Eric Walden, Salt Lake Tribune.
And how important was it to kind of get out to the fast start that you guys had to kind of, you know, obviously when the shots started going down early, you guys were able to kind of put the pedal down, you know, and get out to a huge lead, whereas, you know, previous games, it's kind of been a little more of a back and forth kind of affair. Yeah,
well, you know, Memphis is a really, really good team, and they don't make it easy on you. They're big. They're obviously well coached. They're excellent in the half court, and you know, the key for us to be able to try to generate some of those looks is to get stops. So. That's the first order of business, is us defending and defensive rebounding. If we can do that, you know, you get out, and there's no question you see the ball go in the basket, and it does give you a lift. I think, you know, for us, you know, something we've talked about all year is, you know, is maintaining our focus and our execution defensively when the ball's not going in, and that's the case at times too, but it certainly feels better when it goes in.
Ben Anderson, KSLSports.com.
Quinn, what did you see from your guards after Mike went down?
Well, you know, I thought we were very conscious of, you know, fatigue in certain guys. Tried to adjust rotations a little bit and use timeouts to do the best we could, keeping guys fresh. You know, I thought the ability to throw the ball ahead and have other guys, you know, not have to bring the ball up the court or, you know, be able to make plays. But I also thought, you know, Donovan made really good decisions. You know, Joe really steadied us. I know, you know, his shot didn't go down, but, you know, without him, you know, those stretches become difficult. You know, additionally, I thought JC really picked his spots. Obviously made some buckets, but also got in the lane and broke the defense down, and that, that was what we were trying to do, is to continue to attack, and not get knocked back and let the game slow down regardless of who's in the game.
We have time for one last question. Andy Larson, Salt Lake Tribune.
Quinn, what can you tell us about what happened with Mike Conley?
You'll get evaluated after the game and over the course of the next 24 hours, and we'll be able to tell you more then.
All right, that's it. Thank you so much, Coach.
Okay, thanks.
Taylor Jenkins is also at the podium following his team's postseason run.
How proud I am of them. This was an unbelievable season. Many people are going to say, what a good season. This was a great season for the Memphis Grizzlies. So much individual growth, so much team growth to get to this point. Every team in the NBA has gone through a unique season, unique challenges, but our team has stuck together and put ourselves in this great position to play meaningful basketball at the end of the season, push through and break through and make it into the playoffs and, go up against best team in the NBA and do some great things and do some things that are going to motivate us moving forward. So just so proud of them, the togetherness of this team, the fight and competitiveness of this team day in and day out. We've got a bright future ahead of us that I know if we continue to work on the things that we are capable of and we will work on and the investment everyone's put in, we're going to have just this bright future that I'm so excited about.
Drew Hill.
Taylor, you mentioned that bright future. How much of that, obviously a lot of it is tied to Ja. How do you sort of assess his overall year and then also what you saw from him in this playoff series?
Yeah, obviously Ja is an unbelievably huge part of our future. So many guys on our roster are a big part of our future, which gives me, so much confidence in what we're going to be able to accomplish. But Ja has grown up so much this year. I know he's going to be highly motivated going into the offseason of taking the next level as a player and continuing to help this team take the next step. His words going to the locker room, we will be back. And that's a great mentality that's motivating for his teammates, obviously for the entire staff to continue to know what we've laid as a foundation and moving forward. And for him, his foundation as a player is only continuing to get started. He's only continuing to scratch the surface of what he can become as a player. His talent, his leadership, his IQ, his impact on winning. And then in the playoffs, you saw him rise to the occasion. He's built for these moments. And he's only going to learn and grow from these playoff series and playoff, environments over the last couple of weeks to fuel him for being even better in the regular season and then playoffs beyond. So that's how he's motivated. That's how he's built. That's why it's a blessing to be able to work with someone like him. And, very impressed with his second season and knowing he's got so much great basketball ahead of him.
Evan Barnes.
Taylor, you said this has been a great season overall. I know you've kind of resisted our attempts to kind of reflect on this, what's been good about the season. But just if you could now, what will you take away from specifically from the growth of this year that showed how much the team improved from where they were at the beginning, Ja getting hurt, to now battling 5 games with the Jazz?
Well, I'd say, we'll have more reflection when we do our exit interviews, of course. But, in the moment right now, I would say just, our ability to, continue to work at a rate that prepares you to play winning basketball. Obviously, the games are a completely different experience. The growth that we had from the start of the season, the end of the season, learning how to close out games and win close ball games and learn the importance of, every possession and the little things. Obviously, in the playoffs, it gets heightened more. We did a decent amount, but definitely not enough to beat, the best team in the NBA, Utah Jazz, who have gotten that experience and learned from that. And that's why I say we're going to be motivated to learn and understand the value of, the attention to detail and the value of every possession. And, when teams are taking away your strengths, how you got to be prepared to beat them in other ways like we've done all season long. So I think just our team's ability to understand what it takes preparation-wise, what it takes, recovery-wise from game to game. We had a brutal second half of the schedule, and to be in this position, to know our guys were mentally fresh and physically fresh. Our guys that just continue to understand what it takes as an individual to be prepared to excel on the court, but then what they got to do as a team. And we've played unbelievably great team basketball, unselfish offensively. To be a top 6 or 7 defense with this squad is unbelievable to watch. The commitment on that end just continues to lay the foundation of, as our guys continue to develop, their talents develop, and we have this system that everyone's continued to be a part of and owned. That's exciting. That's what that excitement is, and that's what that growth is. And hopefully we come back after investing a lot in this offseason that's ahead of us and take another step next year.
Hey, Coach. So for Dylan specifically, whether it's him taking on those tough defensive assignments all season long, or even this playoffs, and taking on a bigger offensive load while also increasing his efficiency, just talk about just the beginning of the year and end of the year growth for him, just in those aspects of his game, but also as a leader as well.
Well, what I love about him, and very, very the same way for all of our guys, is his coachability. We always talk about his competitiveness, his spirit, his preparedness, physically, playing for oppositions. Pretty much every single night he's guarding the other team's primary, perimeter player, or even their best player, guarding bigs at times. He loves that challenge. He's motivated by that. I think he took a huge step from last season to this season, as you said, continuing to find ways to be prepared from a mental standpoint, a physical standpoint, to endure that. Obviously, we're going to continue to challenge him to continue to be more of a disciplined defender and how important he is, and a versatile defender to be able to guard multiple positions. And offensively, as he continues to get different usage rates, over the course of the season, as, his role can potentially change over the course of a year. His efficiency definitely is something that we're going to continue to push him. When he has great playmaking nights, it sets a tone for us offensively and is a great showing for him. So, that's going to be stuff we'll talk about with him as we go into the offseason. These are all conversations we've had over the season that's gotten him to this point to excel at this stage. To be a guy that can be elite defensively, accept those matchups, and then offensively be a guy that can embrace a lot on the offensive end as well. So we're only going to make him continue to be a more disciplined, efficient, competitive player, because that's what we're trying to build on our entire roster.
That's all the time we have. Thank you, Coach.
Great. Thanks, everybody.
You're watching Game Time, brought to you by the all-new Carnival MPV from Kia, official automotive partner of the NBA.
It was a game the Jazz never trailed. Donovan Mitchell had 30 points in it. Here he is.
Scored 47 points in the first quarter.
I think setting the tone was huge. I think we did that as a unit on both ends of the floor. And understanding that you can't give a team like that life. You saw it at the end of the game. You give them some glimmer of hope, and then they come out there and start making shots. So we just wanted to try and take that from them early. I think we did a good job of that. And, having last year be so fresh, and I hate to keep harping on it, but it is what it is. Having it so fresh, I think definitely helped. And we're going to have to continue to have the same level of effort and intensity every game throughout these playoffs. And, tonight was good, but we did what we were supposed to do. And we got to go out there and take care of business the next round.
Eric Walden, Salt Lake Tribune.
Don, you guys get off to that great start, as you mentioned, on both ends. Mike goes out early in the second quarter. Kind of what was the focus? How did things shift at that point to kind of making sure that even with him out, you're able to kind of keep things going and keep that momentum going?
I think the biggest thing is just continue to stay locked in mentally. I think we were all on the same page, on the same wave, and I think that was what really helps. When you obviously have Mike, a guy who's creating and getting the paint go down, it can kind of rattle you, but we were able to stay locked in, and everybody stepped up and did what we were supposed to do, and that's what championship teams do, and that's what our goal is, to win a championship. And we got to be able to stay ready, regardless of who's out there, regardless of what happens in the moment.
Tony Jones, The Athletic.
Donovan, was it important for you guys to lock in and finish this without an extra game or two in order to try to get some significant rest and try to heal up and just try to prepare for the next series?
Yeah, for sure. I think, just the travel, going back to Memphis, playing that game, coming back home, that's a 3-hour flight there, playing the game, 3-hour flight back, that's a lot on your body. So if you can eliminate those factors when you're getting ready for the next round, I think is huge. And I think that was really our mindset. We just want to go out there and compete, and we want to take a 3-hour flight back, and although their crowd was dope. I got to give their shout out to their crowd because their crowd and the DJ was on point. He knew what he was doing, but definitely wanted to finish it out here in front of the home crowd.
Naya Campbell, UtahJazz.com.
Hey Donovan, so when you guys clinched the number 1 seed, I asked Jordan Clarkson what song describes his current mood right now. So now going into the second round playoffs, I want to know what describes your current mood right now.
Oh man, I don't know. I mean, it's a tough question. I naturally go to like a Hove song, probably like "Threat" by Hove. That's just been a song I play pretty much every day. By Jay-Z, I don't know if everybody knows who Hove is. Yeah, I don't know if everybody knows, but probably "Threat." I think it's just symbolic, I guess, in a way. It's just we're going out there, continue to do what we do. So yeah, the kids don't listen to it.
We can find a way to bleep it out.
Exactly.
Ben Anderson, KSLSports.com.
Then you won your first ever playoff series, and then you lost 4 straight. It's been a few years. Do you have a different appreciation for it now that they don't come easily?
Yeah, it's funny. Like I just said that right before I came out here, and people were like, "No way!" Like people don't really know that. Like you know what I mean? And for me, this one was huge because it was just like, man, like I haven't done this since my rookie year. And I feel like for me personally, and it's just something that I've wanted to accomplish. But it's not the end goal. But it's definitely something you appreciate along the way. And we did, like I said, we did what we were supposed to do. But at the end of the day, you got to appreciate where you're at too, because you can get lost in the shuffle of everything. So understanding, do it in front of the home crowd. It's big time, but the job's not done, and we got to continue to go out there and fight. But for me personally, I think it's a moment that I'll enjoy for the night, and then get ready to play whoever it is next round.
Nick Seibel, ESPN.
To follow up on that and what you touched on at the beginning, do you feel like you guys exercised some demons tonight because of the way that series against Denver ended last season?
Yeah, I think, if you look at the way we competed, throughout every quarter, I'll go back to the Denver series. We did that for the first 2.5 quarters. Jokic came out on fire to start the game. We weathered that storm. We were doing our thing, went up 15. Jamal wasn't really scoring. And then we kind of let up, and we got to a point a little bit today where we kind of let up and then we locked back in. But, that was pretty much the mindset every quarter, taking it step by step and, understanding that even though it's a 30-point lead, we still have habits. We still have things we need to focus on and get better at, and understanding that, like I said, having that be so fresh in our brain, and having that hurt still there, I think definitely helped with tonight. But just shows the poise that we have as a team, as a unit. We came out with the right mindset, and we got to continue to do that.
Let's do a Salta Sport DNA on the case.
Hello, Donovan. Congratulations on your advance to the semis.
Thank you.
What are the improvements that you made as a team from game 2 to game 4 to game 5, and what are the takeaways from that series from your perspective?
I think we did. We made some good adjustments on Ja. At the end of the day, he's averaged like 26 this series, but like he's tough. Dylan Brooks is tough, and I think that making it tougher on them, being able to shift, staying locked in, and staying on the boards, getting rebounds, picking them apart on offense, I think was huge. Game 1, they kind of were out there just moving freely, kind of doing what they do, and I think we locked back in and understood there was going to be adjustments. Understand it's a 7-game series, and we got to go out there and play them again and again. And I think the adjustments that we made were important and impactful. And I think that's the biggest thing, is making it tougher on those guys to see the reads and to score.
Corey Harrison, out of bounds.
Hey Donovan, how you doing, man?
How you doing?
Great. So such an interesting season for your team. What is the energy surrounding going into the next round?
Well, this game is over. This series is over, and we didn't come this far to just win one series and kind of be like, oh, we didn't lose 3-1 like, we're 4-1 like we did last year. Like, at the end of the day, we come out here and it's just one series, and we got to go out there and do it again and again and again. So for us, it's understanding that, like I said, savor the moment, enjoy it, because it's been 3 years, but also at the same time, we have a job to do. So it's going out there, watching film, getting locked in, mentally and physically ready, and getting rested and getting ready to go.
All right, we have time for one more. Sarah Deseret News.
Hope I'm not putting you on the spot. Are you under the weather?
Yeah, I had these allergies are kicking my butt, man. I was up every hour on the hour last night. Probably the worst sleep I've had in my life, but such is life. It happens. But I'll be fine.
All right, thanks so much, Donovan.
Thank you.